Hey guys, happy Friday. We have one lesson left in our chemistry unit at all. After this, on Monday, we're starting life science. It's going to be great. But for our last day, I want us to think about properties of matter. We're going to learn a little bit about how to write an ACE. That's like a RACES response. It is answering a question, citing evidence, and explaining that evidence. And we'll go through all of that in a minute. But first, is toasting bread a physical or a chemical change? How do you know? Pause this, think about it, look at the bread, think about the properties. What does it taste like, smell like? What's the color before and after you toast it? Answer the question, and we'll come back to it. So, after today's scientist and learning target, I'm going to teach you how to write an ACE for properties of matter. And then we're going to get into breakout rooms. We'll do a practice ACE writing together. You're going to have one more to write, and then you have a quiz where you get to see a video of me doing a chemical experiment that I just did over there on the other side of my classroom. And you get to watch a video of that and decide, is this a chemical or a physical change? And answer 4 questions. So our scientist of the day is Rana El Kalioubi, I don't know how to say her name correctly, dang it. You might be thinking about how old she is. She's Egyptian American. She's a computer scientist and an entrepreneur, as many are, meaning that she has started businesses. She has degrees from the American University of Cairo, which is in Egypt, and a PhD from Cambridge, which is in the United Kingdom in England, which is a very good school. She researched at MIT about using computers to recognize faces. And she started a company called Affectiva, and she is the CEO of that company. I mean, she's like the boss, the chief executive officer. And they developed software for face recognition. And she's an advocate for gender equity in tech and artificial intelligence. And that's important. I like this quote, and I'll tell you why it's important. As we plan for a future, we need to ensure that diversity of all kinds, gender, race, age, education, and perspectives are represented. Specifically, for so many reasons, but for one specific one, because she focuses on this stuff, which is face recognition. So she's training computers, her company trains computers to see parts of your face and recognize it as a face and recognize you, etc. Some people can unlock their phones that way. That doesn't seem very safe. Don't do that. But there's more. There's a lot of applications for this. Without getting into all those details, already early iterations, early versions of this kind of software recognize white dudes' faces, but might not recognize somebody of color. And that goes just to who is in tech making this work. A lot of people, but it's not as diverse as you would think. And it's a lot of white men making this technology. And so she is not she's not a white woman, she's an Arab woman. Sorry, not a white man, but an Arab woman. But she wants more people of color, people of different ages, people of different backgrounds in technology for a lot of reasons. But one specific one is that when you're creating this kind of technology, be able to recognize faces, this should be able to recognize everybody's faces. There should be equity here. And you don't get that when the people creating the technology are only one type of person. So that's her perspective on that. And I agree. Hey, geography lesson of the day. Where's Egypt? Is it over here? No, that's Morocco. Oh, it's over here. Nope, that's Iran. Hey, this is Afghanistan. We have we have at least one student from Afghanistan this year. Here's Turkey, here's Libya, Saudi Arabia, here's the UAE, and Oman, Oman, yep, Yemen. Here's Egypt. This is the Nile River you might have heard of. Cairo is way up here in the Nile Delta. Here's Alexandria. It's another big city. Anyway, I wanted you to know that. Okay. So today we're going to use properties of matter as evidence to support a claim about if a given change was physical or chemical. It's the same learning target as yesterday. Today we're taking a step further and we're writing out our ACE. Remember that a chemical change makes new substances with different molecules. Physical change does not. It's the same substance, same molecules as it was before. Remember that certain properties, when we talk about properties of matter, we're talking about different things about them, their smell and their taste, their shape, their texture, their color. If they can burn, that's their flammability. If they dissolve, that's their solubility. At what temperature do they boil or melt? That's their boiling point, melting point. Their density, how compact the matter is. These are all different things. These are all properties, they're all characteristics that are different for different things. Chocolate and gold, you would not be like, wait, is that chocolate or is that gold? Because they weigh different. They have different melting points. They have different textures, colors, densities, all of that. So we're going to write an ACE today, which is when we answer a question with a claim, we cite evidence and we explain our evidence. So some questions you might debate. You might say, hey, bro, this is the best soccer team in the world. Oh, you know what? I think you should vote for this person. Hey, which language should I learn? Oh, I can tell you what language I want you to learn. These are all questions that you would answer with a claim, which is a statement that you believe. I believe that this is the best soccer team. I believe you should vote for this person. I think you should learn to speak this language. And those are all claims. And you'd have to back those claims up and be like, wait, well, why is that the best team? Well, why should I vote for that person? Wait, why should I learn that language? These are all, you need to back these up with more, not just tell you what you think, that's the claim, but also cite evidence. That's when you provide data, you support your claim with information. In science, usually we would get that evidence from graphs, we get it from data tables, observations. Specifically today, we're using evidence from properties of the reactants and products of a chemical or physical reaction. We're looking at the properties. What are they? What are the properties of the reactants? The color, the taste, the solubility, etc. Same thing with the reactants. Compare them. Are they the same or not? Then you'll explain. You'll say, okay, before it was like this, now it's like this. And that's important because of what happens to the atoms and the molecules of a chemical reaction. I've shown you this slide before. I'm going to show you again. What is happening during a chemical reaction that we don't see are the molecules over here are breaking apart. And they're turning in to just atoms, and they rearrange and they form new molecules over here. These molecules are different from these molecules, and because of that, they have different properties. The molecules are different. You're changing water into hydrogen gas. You're changing oxygen gas into water. In this case, you're making water out of this. Water doesn't act like oxygen. You can't breathe water. Don't try to breathe water. You'll drown. The properties are different. And so if the properties are different, then this happened, a chemical reaction happened. But if the properties are the same, it's a physical reaction. There's a change happening, but it's not the atoms inside the molecules. Okay, so here's an example from the do now. Bread to toast. In class, in live class, I'm gonna have people help me shout these out, but I'm just gonna throw them in here. This piece of bread is white. It's white bread. It's a squishy, soft bread. It tastes bready, yeasty, maybe wheaty. I don't know how there's a lot of different ways you could describe it. I'm gonna go with the word bready. And then after I toast it, it's brown. If I leave it in the toaster too long, it's black. It's hard, it's crispy, it's crunchy. It's bitter. If you leave it in there for a long time and it comes out black, burnt things taste bitter. They're not the same bready taste anymore. They would probably smell very different too. The odor is different. So the question is this a physical or a chemical change? You're going to answer with a claim. You're going to say when bread changes to toast, it is a blank change. Let's just say right now, we'll fill this out together right now. This is a chemical change. Before, the bread was white, soft, and tasted bready. After it was toasted, the toast was brown, crispy, and tasted bitter. There's your evidence. You took the evidence right up here. You just listed what it was like before and then what it was like after. Your explanation is a little bit different. Remember, you're explaining why does this matter? Why did you just, if someone's like, hey, is this a physical or chemical change? You go, oh, well, before it was white and soft and tasted bready, and after it was brown, crispy, and tasted bitter. Like, why did you just tell me that? Oh, well, I told you that because during a chemical reaction, During a chemical reaction, atoms rearrange to form new molecules, which have different properties. Something like that. All I'm saying is, hey, the properties are different. That means the molecules change, which means it's a chemical reaction. That's why I told you about their properties. Boom, I just wrote an ACE, an ACE. Spelling is hard. Okay, so for your breakout room, you guys are going back to the slide that you did as your exit ticket yesterday. You're going to watch this video again if you want to, or you can do it in fast forward. You can discuss if it's a physical or a chemical change. I want you guys all to agree. I want you to agree on which model matches it. And then you're going to write an ACE just like you did before. So I'll go ahead and do this with you since this is your Miss Live class. This is a chemical change. This is a chemical change. I know this, and you could start looking at the data. We know this because before you had this blue copper chloride and this silver aluminum, and after you had this red product. Before, the density was 2.7 for aluminum. Aluminum is 2.7 grams per cubic centimeter. Density of a copper chloride is 3.4 grams per cubic centimeter. But the density of the unknown product is 9. It's way denser. The density changes. The color changes. One of these things is soluble, but the other one isn't. At the end, it's not soluble at all. This is a chemical change. So you're going to write about the properties changing. And then you're going to tell me the evidence supports my claim, because if the color is changing and the density is changing and the solubility is changing, then that means that new molecules were formed during this reaction. If new molecules are formed, that is what a chemical reaction is. So you're going to use these blue cells, the blue boxes. What do I call them up here? Blue boxes, sure, in the table to help you with the site evidence. And to explain your evidence, you're going back to what happens during a chemical reaction, this slide. And if a chemical reaction is happening, that means you're going to see new properties. Okay, so all you're going to do is you're going to do one more. This one, I gave you melting marshmallows. I gave you some color, solubility, and taste data before and after you melt a marshmallow. Your job is to write me an ACE. Is it a physical chemical change? How can you tell? And then you're going to go and open up your quiz. Let's see if I do this. Can you see it anymore? No, but I can somehow fix that. Like this. Haha! Now you guys can see this. You're going to watch this video of me. Hey guys, that's me again. I just recorded this. I stuck it on the quiz for you. I'm doing what's burning magnesium reaction. You're going to watch the reaction. Here's some data from their reaction. And then you're going to answer 1, 2, 3. You're going to choose a claim. Is it a chemical change or a physical change? And then you're going to back it up with one piece of evidence, a second piece of evidence, and some. But they're all multiple choice, making it easy on you. Isn't that nice? All right, that's it. Then next week we start some life science. I better go prepare. Bye.